We start today in Puerto Rico, where Old San Juan is celebrating 500 years since its inception and 10 years of culture and history-filled festival. Marisol Rivera reports.
The Institute of Puerto Rican Culture is in celebratory mode. Not only is it commemorating 500 years of the Islet of San Juan, it's also commemorating 66 years since Don Ricardo Alegría founded the Institute, and it's also celebrating 10 years since the first Campechada. The Campechada will feature over the course of 3 days, beginning the 19th of November, different arts and manifestations, including more than 300 artists of all art domains, including plastic arts, theater, musicians, and much, much more. So tell us what will go on here between the 19th and the 21st of November.
So we have a full street filled with artists, artisans, art, and theater, books, everything, and people are just like a carnival type of celebration. It's actually also the first time that we have such a big event after the lockdown and these 2 years in the pandemic, so it's going to be amazing in Old San Juan, which is a beautiful city, and everyone is just happy to be able to get together and just like live through art and culture.
The Campechada main musical guests are Fiel a la Vega to close Saturday the 20th and El Gran Combo, who will close the event on Sunday the 21st.
It's amazing. It's very important because it not only is good for the people of Puerto Rico to come and know about the Campechada and everything that is going to be offered, food, music, all the art and culture and everything that you can, get here is also what it brings for tourism, because we get to be projected as a cultural destination.
This is an event of such magnitude, it is well worth a trip to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Remember, the Campechada will take place between the 19th and the 21st of November. From San Juan, Puerto Rico, this is Marisol Rivera for One Caribbean News.
All right, thanks, Marisol. Meantime, visitors to St. Vincent and the Grenadines are no longer facing mandatory quarantine once they're fully vaccinated and arrive with the negative COVID-19 PCR test. That's because the COVID-19 task force has revised some entry protocols. Previously, fully vaccinated people had to quarantine for 48 hours at a hotel approved by the Ministries of Health and Tourism. But Health Promotions Officer said that no longer applies, although other entry requirements do remain.
You have to be fully vaccinated for at least 2 weeks prior to your travel date.
Okay.
So even if you got your last dose or your first dose of the vaccine yesterday and your next travel is tomorrow, you're not exempted from that requirement because of the time frame. So that's also important to consider. If you're not vaccinated, then you will fall in what is called a high risk, medium risk, and a low risk. And that would bring some quarantine measures depending on where you're coming from there. So if you are coming from a high risk country and you're fully vaccinated, medium risk or low risk, you do not get to quarantine. You're still required to come with a test.
Hey, can you take down the lower third once it pops up, please? I tried to get your attention. Thank you. Well, John stressed that authorities still remain on guard given the COVID-19 situation in the country.
Even though you would see that the cases are going down and our positivity rate is also trending downwards, it does not put us in a very relaxed state, especially because we are going into opening up for the tourism season. We're also going into Christmas, which is also a very festive time as well. So we really need to continue to stay on our guard. We have over 60 persons who have died from COVID-19 in St. Vincent so far, all of which are unvaccinated. For the last couple of months or so, we've been working with the Ministry of Tourism, Minister and his team, in terms of making sure that we have specific protocols and guidelines in place for those cruise ship passengers who are coming in via sea and the necessary requirements that are required at different ports.
And meantime, it's one of the biggest concerns from parents when it comes to COVID vaccines. Could the vaccine somehow impair their child's future fertility? But top U.S. health experts say this is not a concern, and they want to debunk any vaccine myths. Mandy Gaither reports.
It's official. Children ages 5 to 11 are now eligible to receive Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine.
Having that 5 to 11 vaccine available to them is a huge achievement.
for us as pediatricians. So we're very eagerly excited to be able to finally vaccinate this age group.
A recent survey found that 66% of parents with children in that age group worried that vaccines might negatively impact children's future fertility.
It unfortunately came from a bit of misinformation, and it got picked up in the press and propagated through social media.
The American Academy of Pediatrics, or AAP, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists are united with other doctors and public health officials in saying fertility is not a concern when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine.
I would be the first person who would jump up and down and make a fuss if there was a connection here. There simply is not, and we don't need to worry about this one.
AAP spokesperson Dr. Hina Taleb also says the COVID-19 vaccine won't affect puberty and won't permanently alter menstrual cycles. Any parent with vaccine concerns is urged to reach out to their child's doctor.
I think most pediatricians will be able to talk you through what you need to know in order to make that informed decision. And it's based on science, it's based on research, it's not based on some of the fear-based information that we're seeing on the internet.